Thank you so much, Sophie and Eddie Rude. Thank you. Before we go on to the live questions, actually, let me remove this. Before we go on to our live questions for today, I want to thank you once again for joining us here for our open house. There's a lot of great content for you to explore on the website. So after this is done, after you've done your breakout rooms, feel free to delve into the website and really see what we have to offer. If you have any questions about our application, about financial aid, you can always email us at admissions@utschools.ca and we'll get back to you. But for now, I'll tackle the questions that you've been putting into our form. So, first question, will there be another open house? Today is our final open house of 2020, but the website will be up and going for the month of November. So you can return to it, you can rewatch the video, you can rewatch this Q&A if you want. And other than that, you can book a tour with us. But for 2020, this is it. Please let us know what makes you different from other private schools. That's a great question. Historically, UTS was not a private school. We are actually an independent public school, part of the university, formed by the government. And over the years, as we were defunded by the government, we became more of a private school. I would say what makes us different is we still have a bit of that historic public school flavor to us. We don't have uniforms. We don't have a lot of the maybe stiffness of some other private schools. But we have the flexibility of a school that's independent. So, for example, this year during COVID, we're able to offer hybrid classes, both in school and online. We have the flexibility to do that. Students can come in when they're scheduled to. They can learn from home if they want to. They can switch back and forth week by week. So that's one thing that makes us different. I'd say our key difference between any other private school in Toronto is our affiliation with U of T. No other private school has a relationship with a major university like we do. You've heard a little bit about the affiliation in the video we just saw, so I won't go over that again. But research partnerships and sharing of resources, MT candidates, so Masters of Teaching candidates on site at UTS, access to the libraries, the list goes on. Our next question is, what U of T facilities are available to UTS students? So I'll just address that really quickly here. Our library, our UTS library, is part of the U of T library system. So as a UTS student, you get a U of T card and have access to their libraries, whether digital or in person, not during the pandemic. Our phys ed classes and athletic programs also make use of their athletic facilities from time to time. What is the SSAT cutoff score for stage 1? That's a great question. We do not have a cutoff. Sometimes there's rumors going around that you need 2,200 points on the SSAT to come here. That's not the case. We consider a score of 1850 to 1900 to be a healthy score. A score in that range combined with the rest of the application. So we're looking at your report cards, your written response, will get you invited to stage 2. Each year we accept people who have scores below that range. We also don't accept people who have scores above 1900. So there's no firm cutoff with the SSAT. The SSAT is just one part of our application process. For the upper SSAT, that healthy score is in the 2100 range, the 2100 range. Do you accept an equal number of boys and girls? Yes, we accept an equal number of male and female candidates. So in F1, we accept around 100 students, 95 to 100 students. That's 50 boys and 50 girls. In M3 or grade 9, we accept 20 to 25 students, so 10 to 12 boys and girls. How have the changes related to COVID changed your teaching practices? There seemed to be a lot of hands-on learning in the past. How is this happening now? Obviously, the pandemic has changed everything. I alluded to it a little bit before, but each classroom is outfitted to be a hybrid classroom. So teachers are teaching to the students in the class and the students remotely at home. Right now I'm using one of the webcams we use in our class every day. And students have the option to attend in small cohorts of 15 students or less, or fewer, or stay home. And they can switch that up. If you're scheduled to come in your cohort of 15, you can attend any day that you're scheduled. And if you'd like to stay home, you can learn from home. So there's that flexibility. Now, with regards to the hands-on experience, obviously that's been modified. So, for example, in science, we're still doing science experiments with the students in class, but there's recordings that go home and virtual options that students are using at home. For art, I know our art teachers are working hard to make sure that students get the supplies to their houses that they need to do the projects that we're doing. So obviously the hands-on experience is different, but it's still part of it. We're not a completely virtual school. The TDSB did not issue February report cards for last year, but it's a required application document. How should we handle this? Good question. If you do not have a February report card, simply update us, include the November-December progress report. We'll take that instead this year. Everybody is affected by the pandemic in the same way. So we are building that into our admissions process this year. We are understanding of the difference in report cards this year and trying hard to incorporate that into our process. Our process is a holistic one. We're not just looking at the SSAT or a report card or a test. We are looking at the whole picture of the student. When is the last date to submit an application? That is December 1st. By December 1st, you must submit the application and have written the SSAT. You don't have to have, we don't have to have the results by December 1st, but if you've written it by December 1st and have indicated that we are a recipient, a score recipient, that's fine. We'll get the score within a couple days. How big are class sizes? Class sizes are on average about 22 to 23 students, but they're a little bit bigger in the foundation grades. In grade 7, we have about 25 students per class. And as students can choose more electives, the class sizes get smaller in the upper years. So class sizes might be as low as 15. They might be around 20 in the higher grades. If we didn't add you as a school recipient at the time of registering for the SSAT, can we add UTS now? Will the score be delivered to UTS once we add the school name on the SSAT website? Yes, you can add us as a recipient anytime before December 1st, and then we will get the score. So you didn't have to do it at the time of registering. You can go back, log on, and click UTS as a recipient. Is it possible to get full financial support for a family that is in need? UTS, as I mentioned before, we were historically a publicly funded school, and that has changed over the last 20 years. And so we have a very robust bursary program. And all bursaries at UTS are based on financial need. We don't give any academic scholarships. But if a family is in need, the way the bursary works is a third-party institution by the name of Apple Financial. You would submit your financial information to them, and they make a recommendation to us. And they recommend that UTS gives a certain amount of money to the family. In most cases, we give that amount or more. But to answer your specific question, is full financial support available? Yes. Every year, we have students who receive a full bursary based on their financial need. Will the campus be back to Bloor for the 2022 admission? Yes, certainly. We actually hope to be back at Bloor next fall in 2021. Originally, we were scheduled to, the renovation was scheduled to be complete for September of 2021. We've been pushed back a little bit because of the pandemic, but we're still on track to be complete in the fall of 2021. So by the end of 2021, we should definitely be back in that building. What areas or characteristics of an applicant are considered during the interview? Why don't I take a second to talk about our stage 2 process? So our stage 1 process is write the SSAT, submit your report cards, submit your written responses, and from there we take about 200 candidates for the grade 7s and invite them to stage 2. Now stage 2 is an in-house math test from UTS, an in-house English test from UTS, and an interview. All of these things will be done virtually this year. So the tests will be proctored remotely. You'll have your camera on and your mic on as you write the test, proctored in small groups. And the interview is what we call a multiple mini interview process. Now, the MMI is 6 different interview questions with 6 different interviewers, so that there's not just one person who is sort of assessing the candidate. We've got 6 independent people giving a objective. It makes the process more objective. Now, what we're looking for in that interview is who the student is. Are you a curious and engaged learner? What do you like? What fascinates you? Tell us about that. Now, the questions are designed to get that information out of you, but the experience is meant to be a conversation, not a pressured interview. We're looking for genuine answers, not overly prepared answers. So we'd suggest you do not, spend any money on prep courses for this. It's not worth it. Come to the interview, be yourself, be relaxed. You'll have a friendly teacher interviewing you or a friendly alum, graduate of the school who's interviewing you. And it's really just a conversation. What challenges does a grade 9 entrant face versus those that enter in grade 7? That's a great question. I'd say the field of competition is a little bit stronger. It's a little bit harder to get in grade 9 because we accept fewer applicants. In grade 9, we accept about 20 to 25 students. We have about 200 apply for the stage 1 process. So it's a little bit harder in that way. But it is a designed entry point for the school. We accept a full class of students. We buddy them up with current grade 9 students as soon as they're accepted. So over the summer, they get to know each other. I think one difficulty might be entering a school where 100 of your classmates have been together for the past 2 years and you're new. But first of all, there's 20 new people, or 25, and they're paired up with their buddies, and the school is very welcoming. The students are very welcoming. My daughter will receive her grade 8 term 1 report card just before the winter break. Can we submit it to UTS then? Yes. Once you submit the application on December 1st, you can add the missing report card at a later date. That's standard, so don't worry about that. What are the houses? Well, there's Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and the houses at UTS. Wait, sorry, that makes more sense. We've got Crawford, Althouse, Lewis, and Cody. They're named after former principals or headmasters of the school. One of them is actually named after a president of the university. And so our house system works a little bit like that in Harry Potter. We've got 4 houses, and they compete through the year and get house points, either in athletic events or what we call literary events. The house system just is another way for people to bond between grades, right? So you will get together in your house, whether you're in grade 7 or grade 12, and meet. And we have, of course, a secret sorting ceremony for our new students to determine which house they get in. It's not exactly like Harry Potter. We don't have one house dedicated purely to evil students like Slytherin. So you're sorted in a slightly different manner, but yes. How many slots are available for coming into grade 8? Grade 8 is actually not an entry point at UTS. We do not accept any students in grade 8. We accept in grade 7, grade 9, and grade 10 and 11 based on attrition, meaning if people have left after grade 9, we'll accept students in grade 10 or 11. And in grade 10 or 11, we accept usually between 1 and 4 students for each grade. What is the format of the Stage 2 tests for grade 7 applicants? The math test is a full solution test. So instead of multiple choice, we're looking for how you can attack a problem. And some of the problems, they're all based on grade 6 curriculum in Ontario. So it's all stuff you should be familiar with, but some of the problems are more straightforward and some of the problems are quite, can be quite difficult. And we're looking to see not did you get every problem right, but how did you go about trying to solve it, right? So that's the format of the math test. The English test is a written one, this year probably typed, and both, as I said before, will be virtual. Can I take a second SSAT exam to improve my score? Yes, you can write the SSAT numerous times. We only really look at the final score you get. I would say practice writing the SSAT before writing it for real. That's a good way to do it. You want to be familiar with the test and how the test works, so that when you write it, you're getting assessed on what you know and not how to take a test. Can upper year UTS students take U of T courses if a subject is not offered at UTS? It is not the norm for UTS students to take U of T courses, but it is possible in exceptional cases for students to audit U of T courses. So in some cases we have quite exceptional math students who would still take calculus, let's say at UTS, the things that are offered in the Ontario curriculum, but might audit an aspect of math, a branch of math at U of T that is not part of the Ontario curriculum. Each year we have a handful of chemistry students who audit the organic chemistry course at U of T. So there are in some cases ways to audit courses at U of T, but the courses at UTS are advanced and enriched, and that's sort of the point of our school. Can you please tell us about where UTS graduates go to university? They go everywhere. We have most of our graduates attend university in Canada, be it U of T, McGill, UBC, any university you can name in Canada, really. And many of our graduates go overseas or internationally to the US or to the UK. It really depends year by year, but every year we have a certain amount of graduates that go to the US. You can find out the data from our 2019 class in our lookbook, which is available at our admissions website. How many students come from the surrounding community within walking distance? That's an excellent question. Our students come from all over the GTA. So while we have plenty who come from in the community, who walk to school, who bike to school, people come from Richmond Hill, Markham, Thornhill, North York, Mississauga, Oakville, everywhere. So we draw from everywhere. Though I can't tell you how many students come from walking distance, but we have a spread throughout the GTA of where students come from at our school. How are co-curriculars impacted this year? Do you foresee getting back to all co-curriculars next year? Yeah, so we've had a slow start to our co-curricular program this year, but actually just this week we've started up many of the clubs. Our Wednesday schedule has been a little bit modified, so students can meet their clubs virtually at the end of the day in class. Other clubs have started to meet as well after school, all virtually, of course. So I'm the Reach for the Top coach, which is our competitive trivia team, and we held our first practice this week. It's a little bit weird not doing it in person, but we're moving ahead in many ways. Co-curricular athletics, especially the ones that are competing with other schools, they're on hold right now indefinitely until the pandemic ends. I think the news may change throughout the year depending on the regulations, but some athletic clubs have popped up in their place. So I know tennis is quite a safe sport to play during the pandemic. So a tennis club has started at UTS within the first few weeks of school this year, and some students are playing tennis for athletics. How are interviews going to happen? They're going to happen virtually. Sorry, I think I may have already answered this question, but they will be virtually in small sessions, going from one Google Meet to another Google Meet, meeting with the 6 different interviewers. All right. Keep those questions coming. Will the kids coming from immersion learn a specialized French program in grade 7 or focus more on core French? While UTS does not offer an immersion program, we're not an immersion school, we do have 2 different levels of French. We have what we call core French and special French. And students who come from a French background, either from the French board or an immersion school or have extensive experience in French, will be assessed and probably sorted into special French, where the focus is less about learning the basics of the language, and more about what you can do with the language once you already have a grounding. So more focus on literature, etc. So yes, our special French program is for immersion students and students who are already fluent. We aren't an immersion school, so you're not taking other courses in French. But we do offer those 2 tiers. What does stage 2 look like for grade 9 applicants? So grade 9 applicants don't write the additional tests. They don't write the math and the English test. Stage 2 is just the interview. You also need to submit 2 reference letters, one from a math teacher and one from another teacher. We look at that for grade 9, but we're looking more at your high school marks as opposed to a test we create, and the interview process is stage 2. How many classes are there in a day? In a typical day at UTS, we have 5 periods, starting in the morning at around 8:45 and ending at 5 to 4. There are 5 72-minute periods with about a 50-minute lunch. And in the lower grades, you'd be taking 5 different courses over the day. Over 2 days, you take 10 full courses. And in the upper grades, you start to get spares, some time off. So starting in grade 10, you get 1 block off. In grade 11, you get 2, and more in grade 12. During COVID, because of the cohorting, we've switched that format to 1 class a day. So students remain in 1 class with their cohort of 15, and that class is broken up with some breaks and things, but they're coming in at 9 and going till 2:45, studying 1 subject. And they take 1 class on 1 day, a separate class on the second day, and then to sort of spread the term out a little bit, we're switching between courses. So you do 1 course for about 2 weeks, and then we switch to another pair of courses, and then back to the first one. So it's not all crammed and condensed so tightly. Do SSAT scores influence the decision for stage 2? That's a great question. The SSAT score is mostly for stage 1. It is to determine whether we invite you to stage 2. After that, we don't really look at it again, or else we'd be double counting it. We'd be putting too much value on the SSAT score. So after that, we're looking at the stage 2 process. We may look at the SSAT score as a comparison, but we're not factoring it into our rankings, let's say. There's about 2 more minutes left. I'm going to take a couple questions, and then we'll have a 15-minute break before our breakout sessions. I believe UTS does not offer IB programs. Do they offer AP programs? What's the advantage of AP or IB? We are not an IB school. We do not offer International Baccalaureate programming, but we do offer, all of our courses are advanced and enriched. The courses, as I said a second ago, you take 10 courses in a year instead of 8. So you already have a larger course load. You get 25% more classes and teacher contacts there. And then those courses themselves are enriched, and some are accelerated. So in grade 8, for example, our grade 8 students start taking grade 9 math and grade 9 science and grade 9 Latin. So they achieve 3 high school credits in grade 8. In the upper years, we do offer AP programming, advanced placement programming, in many subjects: AP Calc, AP Bio, Physics, Economics, World History, Human Geography. We offer a wide range of AP courses for people to take. The regular grade 12 courses at UTS are at a level that are probably first year university, but we cater to the AP program as well. We are at our time. So thank you very much for your questions. If you have any other burning questions, please email them to admissions@utschools.ca. That email address is all over the website. For now, we'll take a 15-minute break. But if you scroll down after this video, you'll see links to all our different breakout sessions. The way it will work is you can click on one of those links, you'll be admitted into a session, and you'll be able to interact with the teachers and the students of that session. If you find a session is a little crowded, if there's lots of people there, leave, go find another session and come back. We're making it a little bit more flexible so that you can attend as many sessions as you want. So please do shop around, check out the different rooms, enter, come back if it's a little crowded. When it may be less crowded a little bit later, go find a room where there maybe isn't many, so you can have a great conversation with one of our wonderful teachers or students who are here today. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of our open house.